Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm David Marcel, and this is my comic book obsession. And today we've got the second Mega Freebie Friday, where we look at a ton of free comic books. Or, well, 3 at least.
It's from the doctor. What does it say? Geronimo.
Doctor Who, Free Comic Book Day 2016. 4 Doctors, 1 book. The 9th through 12th Doctor are all hanging out in this book.
In the first story, Osgood calls the Doctor to stop the crisis of a robot made of living metal who's set on eliminating the human race, as robots are wont to do. In the next story, the 11th Doctor explains about what drives him, while a chainsaw sword-wielding maniac searches the TARDIS for his wife. The companions of the 10th Doctor take a tour of the TARDIS, while the Doctor works on a doohickey that may or may not be responsible for the ghosts haunting the TARDIS dorms. Finally, the 9th Doctor, Jack and Rose, decide to take a rest on the most serene planet in the universe, only to find themselves faced with a planetary graffiti artist. The writing in this book is mostly spot on, capturing all of the characters of the Doctor very nicely.
Look at this scene here and tell me you don't hear Peter's voice and accent in your head.
Those companions that are returning from the show also are easily identifiable by their traits. I mean, look at Jack. Look at his reaction to having his face on the moon. That's priceless.
These comics are just what the Doctor ordered while I'm waiting for the next season to hit Netflix. Grumpy Cat and Pookie. Well, let's see. Cranky Cat, Perky's sidekick, what does that mean? Oh yeah, Garfield. That is probably what you're thinking. And you're not wrong, but you're not entirely right either.
Grumpy Cat borrows very heavily from Garfield. Heck, her sidekick is called Pookie, just like Garfield's teddy bear. But it also manages to be its own beast in the fact that Grumpy Cat is not lazy, she just doesn't give a f***. She also doesn't seem to hate normal, Pokey. She just gets mildly annoyed by his enthusiasm. But she usually does go along with whatever the little guy wants to do, if for no other reason than for Pookie to stop pestering her. In this issue, the 2 cats become superheroes, painters, band members, detectives, and go to Comic-Con. You know, standard cat stuff.
Now I like Garfield because it's so consistent, which is a nice way of saying uncreative, that I can pick up any book and be at the exact same spot I was when I was binge reading them at age 10. I think Grumpy Cat has the potential to do this for a new generation. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Free Comic Book Day Special. Now this new version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated adventures is actually pretty nice. It's definitely kid-friendly, but not to the point of being childish.
The story opens up with Michelangelo showing his brothers a new combo, which they aren't too impressed with because, as Raph puts it, they're ninja experts, and therefore it would take a lot more than just flipping around to impress them. Splinter obviously doesn't take kindly to this kind of arrogance and promptly has the brothers switching weapons to show them that it doesn't take much for an expert to become a novice again. They then encounter the purple dragons on patrol and barely best them, before running into Baxter Stockman's RADs, that's reverse action droids. After initially getting their butts kicked because the robots have studied their every move, the brothers once again switch weapons to throw the robots off by having a different fighting style.
The action is well done, and fans of the Nick series will absolutely love this. Personally, I like the potential I've seen, and I'm really curious to see just where this is going to go, if it's going to follow the series closely, or like its predecessor, if it's going to kind of evolve into its own thing. The Boom Studios 2016 Summer Blast Free Comic Book Day issue. This is a sampler, but it's a sampler done right. Now, I'm basically just recommending this because there's a whole Mouse Guard story in there and because of the Labyrinth story.
It starts off with a story from Jim Henson's Labyrinth called Stone Cold by Cory Godbey. In the story, Ludo has a cold, and that's not good for a guy his size, especially since rocks fly every time he sneezes.
This is a sweet story, which seems less like a comic book and more like a little golden book.
The next story is from the Mouse Guard universe, and to me, this is the main reason why I can wholeheartedly recommend this sampler collection. The story is The Tale of Piper the Listener. Story and art by David Pedersen. In this story, a young mouse is writing in his journal. His sister has taken ill, and that is taking a very hard toll on his family. He feels alone and rejected, so he writes about one of the most inspirational stories he knows. Piper is a scholarly mouse who ventures out into the world to learn the different languages of the different animals. The story is gorgeous, and it feels like a fairy tale.
The artwork is also wonderful, and I'm definitely going to have to pick up some Mouse Guard issues in the future. I really want to see where this series is going.
The Cloud features two characters. One being the boy, who apparently rides the endless azure, as well as another young man who is looking for a wishing stone. This ends on a cliffhanger, which I'm not very fond of. However, the artwork is interesting, and I may or may not pick this up later. Next is The Dirty Dungeon by Box Brown, which is an Adventure Time story. Finn and Jake are on their way to the Dirty Dungeon. However, Jake has an appointment with his agent later, so he's not very gung-ho about going in there, because it's dirty and smelly, and his agent is a bit of a neat freak. It's a fun read, true to the Adventure Time TV show. The next story is from Lumberjanes, called Don't Axe, Don't Tell. And I don't know who any of these characters are, other than the fact that they are the Lumberjanes and that one of them looks like Daphne from Scooby-Doo. These girls are out in the forest looking for edible plants to learn how to identify them and afterwards prepare them for a feast for their camp. On the way through the woods, they talk about the history of the area they are in. It appears there was a gold rush, where one winter the miners got trapped in their village by snowstorms. Food became scarce, and things got out of hand. One of the miners went nuts, and either robbed or murdered some of his co-miners. Eventually winter ended, but half the camp was wiped out. Those who were left never spoke of it again. To be continued.
And the last story in this collection is Goldie Vance.
Goldie, as far as the last page suggests, is a modern-day Nancy Drew. In this book, she finds a missing child who was running amok in the hotel her father works at. She sticks her nose in the receptionist's romance before running into her dad's boss. It's set up as a prequel to start the series. The art style is very appealing to me, and I might actually check out this book to see if it's something I enjoy.
And that's the end of our second Mega Freebie Friday. If you want to check out these free comic books, I've left you a couple of links down in the description below. And be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm David Marcel, and this is my comic book obsession.